Welcome to Standard Voice News Channel. I am Samira Ibrahim. Here are your top stories for today. Ministry for Humanitarian Affairs postponed distribution of palliatives over insecurity in Zamfara State. NCDC announces 315 new COVID-19 cases, infections now 12,801. President Buhari nominates Monica Dauban as President Court of Appeal. On business, NNPC partners Kebbi to build ethanol factory. And on the international scene, thousands mourn George Floyd ahead of hometown funeral. Now the news in details. The attention of Zamfara state government is drawn to a series of negative reports sprouting out of the recent visit of the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajiya Sadiya Umar Faruk, to the state over the weekend. A story that dominated a section of the media and indeed the social media on Monday alleged that Governor Bello Muhammad Matawalle snubbed the minister and refused to host her on a courtesy call, which prompted her to postpone the function that brought her to the state. Suddenly, another version of the visit dominated the media that the minister indeed postponed the function due to insecurity in the state. A certain online publication went further to cite the recent attack in Maru and Talata Mafara local government areas of the state. Both versions, as carried in the media, to say the least, are profoundly unfair to the administration of Governor Bello Muhammad Matawalle and indeed Zamfara State. To put the record straight, the minister was in Zamfara State on Saturday and was duly received by Governor Bello Muhammad Matawalle Maradon, who provided her with necessary accommodation and sent his secretary to the state government to welcome her. However, on Sunday, the governor was informed of the minister's decision to return to Abuja without performing the function that brought her to the state. It is therefore very uncharitable to allege that Governor Bello Muhammad Matawalle snubbed her, as was reported in some media. Similarly, the information attributed to the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, as sourced from its Deputy Director of Information, Rodi Ilya, is completely unfounded. Governor Abdullah Umar Ganduje of Kano State has called on the federal government to put a stop to the movement of herdsmen from other African countries into Nigeria. This, according to him, will help to curb the rate of crime attached to the Fulani herders conflict across the country. He made the call on Saturday during the commissioning of 25 housing units of rural settlement at Lanso Shia Forest in Kiru local government area of the state. The governor said this is the first batch of the housing unit of 25 out of 200 units earmarked for construction. According to him, the call was necessary in order to successfully and effectively prevent the coming of herdsmen from other African countries, because they come to the country with guns and other weapons which film the clash between herders and farmers. The Joint Admission and Matriculation Board JAMB and heads of tertiary institutions are expected to meet June 16th over cut-off marks and other guidelines for the 2020/2021 admission exercise. The exam body announced the 2020 policy meeting of tertiary institutions in its weekly bulletin. According to the bulletin, the policy meeting, which is expected to hold online, will be chaired by the Minister of Education, Adamu. Part of the protocols put in place by the government to curb the spread of COVID-19 requires that no gathering of persons exceeding the prescribed number. Compliance with this directive has become imperative, as no fewer than 4,000 heads of tertiary institutions comprising degree, diploma, NCE, and NID awarding institutions and other stakeholders will normally be expected to congregate at a location, but because of extant protocols, they will now be expected to participate in the virtual meeting. The federal government has said that with circumstantial evidence, investigations suggested between 50 to 60% of notable Kano State unexplained deaths may have been triggered by or due to COVID-19 in the face of pre-existing ailments. The Minister of Health, Dr. Osayi Ihanure, said this on Monday in Abuja at the 41st Joint National COVID-19 briefing of the Presidential Task Force (PTF) on COVID-19. He said that most fatalities were over 65 years of age. there was outrage over the high number of deaths, with notable individuals in Kano, Jigawa and some other states. With regard to unexplained deaths in Kano, which occurred in April, the team confirmed from graveyard records that a total of 979 deaths were recorded in 8 municipal local government areas of the state at a rate of 43 deaths per day, with the peak in the second week of April. By the beginning of May, the death rate had reduced to 11 deaths per day it used to be. The verbal autopsy revealed that about 56% of the deaths had occurred at home, while 38 were in hospitals. After 2 months in the northeast with the troops, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukul Buratai, was at the Presidential Villa Abuja, where he met and briefed the President Muhammadu Buhari on the security situation behind a closed door. After the closed door meeting with the Chief of Staff, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, in attendance, Buratai later told journalists that Nigerian troops had arrested 166 Boko Haram informants, neutralized 1,429 terrorist fighters in the last 2 months that he physically joined the operation in the northeast. He said the troops are putting in their best, and that has resulted in the tremendous success they are recording. Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State has sacked the Secretary to the State Government SSG Aliyu Ahmed Tijjani. Mr. Ahmed Tijjani was Commissioner for Education in the administration of Umaru Ali Makura, the immediate past governor of the state. The announcement is contained in a statement issued by Hamza Gayam, the Permanent Secretary PS Government House Administration, on Monday in Lafia. The statement said the governor had directed Mr. Ahmed Tijjani to immediately hand over all government property in his possession to Muazu Adamu Gosho, the Permanent Secretary Cabinet Affairs in the office of the SSG. It said that the governor thanked the former SSG for his services and support to the administration and wished him well in his future endeavor. The news agency of Nigeria, NAN, recalls that the State House of Assembly ad hoc committee investigating the release of 1 billion naira for the renovation and fencing of public secondary schools in the state in 2018 had indicted the former SSG. A federal high court in Benin has ordered the All Progressives Congress APC to stop its planned primary election in Edo State ahead of the September governorship election. In a judgment on Monday, the court restrained the ruling APC and its national chairman, Adams Oshomole, from conducting the election pending determination of the suit on June 11, 2020. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has recorded 315 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number of infections in the country to 12,801. The NCDC announced this on Monday through its official Twitter handle, noting that as at June 8, 315 new confirmed cases and 7 deaths were recorded in the country. The NCDC said that COVID-19 cases were managed based on the symptoms, complications and other conditions patient presents on admission or develop during treatment, while their immune system fights the infection. The health agency said till date, 12,801 cases have been confirmed, 8,400 active cases, 4,040 have been treated and discharged, and 361 deaths have been recorded in 35 states and the Federal Capital Territory (FCT). The NCDC said that 315 new cases were reported from 14 states: Lagos with 128, FCT 34, Rivers 32, Edo 28, Oyo 22, Kaduna 20, Gombe 13, Ogun 8, Plateau 5, Delta 7, Kwara 7, Kano 5, Bauchi 4, Katsina 2. Now reports that the Public Health Institute said they were not where they wanted to be in the response of COVID-19 in the country. The agency says the reagent for about 200,000 tests across its lab network. However, its testing capacity is grossly underutilized. The federal government has stated that schools may reopen in the country after the ban of interstate movement has been lifted. The statement was made by the Minister of State for Education, Emeka Wajioba, during a briefing by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 in Abuja on Monday, as he hinted that schools may reopen in the country after the ban on interstate movement has been lifted. He said the government wants to open schools when it is safe to do so. President Muhammadu Buhari has sent the nomination of Justice Monica Doban Nemsen, Acting President Court of Appeal, to the Senate for confirmation as President Court of Appeal. Malam Garba Shehu, presidential spokesperson, in a statement on Monday, stated that this is in line with his constitutional responsibility. The statement recalled that Justice Doban Nemsen is a serving justice of Court of Appeal and was recommended, as is the practice by the National Judicial Council, for the nomination by the President. Borno State Governor Babagana Umar Zulum on Monday revoked all allocation of houses that have remained unoccupied at Endemic Estate for more than a year in Bama local government area. Governor Zulum said since it was obvious those given the houses do not need them, internally displaced persons, many of whom live in government camps, be given the houses so they can occupy immediately. The governor gave the order at the Shehu of Bama's Palace on Monday, when he spent his entire day looking out for the welfare of IDPs, as he led government officials in the distribution of food and non-food items to those in critical need. The estate, made up of 100 units of two-bedroom houses, was built by Borno's billionaire businessman Alhaji Muhammad Indimi as part of support to his home state. The houses were allocated more than a year ago, with allottees holding on them without occupation. Electricity consumers will pay more for the prepaid meter, as the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NERC) has increased the price of the asset to 82,855 naira for 3 pairs and 44,896.16 naira for single piece meters respectively. The development was contained in a memo signed by the chairman of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NERC), Professor James Momo, paging the new price pursuant to Section 19D of the MAPS regulation. Recall the stakeholders have decried the poor implementation of the meter asset providers' MAPS policy, but the regulatory body went ahead to alter the hitherto prices of 36,999 naira for single piece and 67,055 naira for 3 piece. Prof. Momo said in arriving at the approved unit cost, the Commission had considered the recent changes in foreign exchange approved by the Central Bank of Nigeria and the applicable rate available to importers of meter components and fully assembled meters through investors and exporters forex window. The federal government has declared Friday, June 12 as public holiday to mark this year's Democracy Day celebration. The Minister of Interior, Rauf Arebisola, made this known on Monday via a statement issued by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Interior, Georgina Ehuria. While congratulating Nigerians at home and abroad for enrichment of democratic rule in the country, Arebisola commends the heroes of democracy for their dogged determination and sacrifice in promoting democracy in the country. He, however, asked the citizens to continue to cherish these selfless efforts and collaborate with the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration to ensure the realization of the democratic ideals which these patriots fought for, even at the cost of their lives. The minister also reiterated the federal government's commitment to battling the scourge of COVID-19, seeking the cooperation of all Nigerians. The former Lagos State Commissioner of Police is reportedly dead in Makurdi, the Benue state capital, after an undisclosed protracted ailment. Tokurma Uke, personal assistant to the late Svtv, revealed that Svtv died at Federal Medical Center Makurdi on Monday afternoon. According to Uke, the deceased family might likely issue a release on his departure later. On business, over to Fauzia.
Hello there, welcome to Standard Voice Television Business Update. The chairman of the Kebbi State Standing Committee on Biofuel, Muhammad Kaoji, has said the biofuel project will augment the state internally generated revenue, IGR, to the tune of 338 billion naira annually. Mr. Kaoji, former Minister of Science and Technology, made this known while briefing journalists in Birnin Kebbi on Monday. The Kebbi State government and the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) had on November 23, 2017, signed a memorandum of understanding for ethanol biofuel production projects in the state. The project is being implemented in Gwazawa, Danko, Wasagu local government area of the state. Mr. Kaoji noted that the biofuel sourced from sugar would contribute substantially to the state's revenue base. He said the production of the biofuel was not for the sake of producing biofuel alone, but have done their calculations and their expectations. If the project is completed, it will supplement the state RGR of 338 billion naira, about $1 billion, if they achieve our maximum targets annually. He said the project will provide empowerment and employment opportunities to a number of people as it has a production line. Mr. Kaoji said the state government has cultivated a total of 47,000 hectares of cassava to provide a source of raw materials for the ethanol biofuel production. About 15,000 hectares have been embarked for biofuel projects, while 32,000 hectares will be used by outgrowers to produce cassava. And that's all on the business update. I am Svtv Ibrahim. Have a nice day.
And on the international scene, George Floyd's funeral will be held in his native Houston Tuesday after mourners paid their respect to the African American whose death in custody ignited global protests against political brutality and racism. Thousands of well-wishers filed past Floyd's coffin in the public viewing Monday as a court set bail at $1 million for the white officer charged with his murder last month in Minneapolis. Many made the sign of the cross as they approached the open casket to say a last goodbye, while others took a knee or bowed their heads in silent prayer for a man who has become emblematic of America's latest reckoning with racial injustice. The 6-hour viewing at the Fountain of Praise Church, which drew more than 6,000 people, organizers said, was the final stage in a series of ceremonies paying tribute to Floyd before he is laid to rest next to his mother in his hometown. In Washington, Democratic lawyers knelt in silent tribute to Floyd before unveiling a package of police reforms in response to the killing of unarmed black Americans by law enforcement. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. Ministry for Humanitarian Affairs postponed distribution of palliatives over insecurity in Zamfara State. NCDC announces 315 new COVID-19 cases, infections now 12,801. President Buhari nominates Monica Dauban as President Court of Appeal. On business, NNPC partners Kebbi to build ethanol factory. And on the international scene, thousands mourn George Floyd ahead of hometown funeral. That's the news. On behalf of the production crew, Head of News and Current Affairs Department, Ibrahim Garbatunau, I am Samira Ibrahim, wishing you a pleasant day. Keep watching Standard Voice Television News. Goodbye.